Welcome everyone, today we have a special guide for Diablo 4. In this video, let's have a look at the player that achieved the world first to clear the Nightmare tier dungeon 100 solo. And he is playing a Druid. You gotta watch this one, and this is a Chinese player. He is currently fighting the boss of the dungeon, and this is a level 100 Nightmare dungeon as you can see over here. He has 2 revives left. His Druid is incredibly strong. I'll show you guys the full build, the skills, the items, and also the Paragon level. This is crazy, right? And I wish I could deal this much damage, but I should have played the Druid. Okay, let's watch and I'll show you guys what happens. Now, one thing to notice is that he is playing a special dungeon. Currently, the writing says over here, he's looking for 3 different dungeons. I'm actually not sure the other 2, but I know this one. This is actually the Blind Burrows, and he has just achieved clearing the Nightmare dungeon tier 100 with ease. You can see that he wasn't losing much HP, he wasn't popping HP potions, and he has done just clear this. You can see the achievement over here, he has completed Nightmare Dungeon 100. And this is incredibly strong, because this is his stream, and I'll have the stream available for you guys to have a look. You can see that throughout the fight, he is incredibly powerful and strong. This is so broken, right? He deals so much AoE damage, and he can stand his ground against level 100 monsters. He has so much damage reduction, so much damage dealing, and the build is insanely powerful as a ranged DPS, a werewolf. So this is a really cool build I want to show you guys. Now, of course, the player that achieved this one is a Chinese player whose name is Zard1991, and I'll have his links available. This is his live stream link, and if you guys want to check him out, definitely check him out and let him know, he did a good job, right? So over here, he has also shared his build in Chinese onto different forums and also different posts in terms of a form of build creator. And after studying him for a while, I decided that we can duplicate the build. So we're learning from his build, and all the credits and also big thank you to him. So I have all his links available for you guys if you want to follow him and also learn from him. But of course, I know most of you guys can't speak Chinese. It took me a while to understand this too. So I have created the English version of his build over here, and we'll go through everything. We also have his additional notes translated over here. So you gotta see his skill trees, his Paragon choices, which is actually amazing, and also his choices, items, and also legendaries. Now, similar to all of our build videos, I'll be working with mobilities and also provide you guys with a cheat sheet of the summary of the spells and also the abilities and also the choice of legendaries. So make sure you guys check the links below, and we'll be updating this build for you guys very soon. So coming over to the items and also legendaries over here, the only unique item that is needed for this particular Druid build is the Tempest Roar, which allows the lucky hit to have the Storm skill up to 25% chance to grant Full Spirit, and the base skills are now Werewolf skills. So what he is doing is he's using Werewolf skills, Werebear skills, and also the ability to convert the Storm skills into Earthing Might passive, which allows him to trigger the regeneration of the energy of spirit and also 100% guarantee crits. Now, if you guys are playing the Druid and if you have this helmet, well, you're pretty much set. You can have this build and you can be crazily strong. Every other item is crafted by legendaries, and you can easily find those items. So as we keep going, the chest, he has decided to have damage reduction with a shift into a werewolf, which is quite understandable because most of the fight he's a werewolf. Now as for the gloves, he is now having the storm spells using the ability of the Earthen Might. If you guys are not sure about this spell, this is one of the unique passives I think is very powerful. So there's a percentage chance to restore all your spirit. After that, for 5 seconds you're 100% guaranteed to crit, and the chances increase when you critical hit and also stun and also disable enemies, which means he has no mana or energy issues, and he has 100% critical chance, which is insanely powerful in Diablo 4. Now the choice of legendary for the pants is quite straightforward. Over here it's 50% increased armor as he deals damage, and most of the class will be using this one for defensive purpose. And finally, the boots he went for mobility. So while he's unstoppable, he will be gaining 25% movement speed, and that's quite strong, right? Now if we come over to the one-handed weapon, he's using a one-handed weapon and also offhand for the Druid. So for the one-handed weapon, he's gaining 25% attack speed with critical hits with core skills. Because he has a 100% guaranteed critical chance for 5 seconds, the increased attack speed is actually phenomenal with the increased attack speed. Because it's guaranteed to crit, that means when you crit, you also have better attack speed, which is very powerful. Now the choice of the offhand is going with Tornado, now seek additional 3 enemies, which allows him to deal more AoE damage and also more damage overall. Now if we come over to the rings, he is going with the Grizzly Rage, which allows him to extend the duration of the Grassly Rage, and also additional critical strike while Grassly Rage increase your critical strike damage, which means, he has longer durations and also more damage. Now, because he'll be getting a lot of Fortify as a Druid, his core skills now can deal up to 40% more damage because of the Fortify. And finally, because he is going to shift into Grassly Rage Druid with a Werewolf, now Grassly Rage shift you into a Dire Wolf. As a Dire Wolf, you gain 25% movement speed instead of damage reduction, and 50% spirit cost bonus reduction. And if you kill an enemy, you restore 10% of your maximum life. Now the gem sockets, he's going with Armored for increased vulnerability critical strike damage, and also for the armor, he's going for damage reduction while fortified. He's going for bonus armor as the scales in the sockets of accessories. Now for the Spirit Bombs, he's going for the damage reduction from elites, bonus life for 10%, and also the extended duration of ultimate spells by 25%. He's picking the Double Spirit from Snake, which allows critical chance to heal you for 3% maximum life. And also there is the lucky hit chance with nature spells to reduce the cooldowns of your ultimate by 2 seconds. Now if we come over to the skill trees of the Druid, you can see that 2 skills are going into the Storm Strike, those are just placeholders. So 5 points will be going to Tornado, and this is major source of damage. He'll also go with Tornado, have a chance of making enemies more vulnerable. Over here, 3 points will be going to Wild Impulse, which allows him to deal more damage with his core spells. And 3 points are going to the Predator Instinct and also the just this one, I can't pronounce the name. So yes, 3 points will go into critical chance against close enemies, and also he gains movement speed in werewolf form. Now over here, he's also going to have Cyclone Armor and also Blood Roar. This allows him to have the intensified damage reduction, and also the Blood Roars will increase attack speed. Now 3 points will be going to Ancestral Fortitude and 3 points into Vigilance. So there's the non-physical damage reduction and also the damage reduction after using defensive spells. Because he's got 2 defensive spells, he can be rotating those to gain more benefits. Now because he also plans to play as a ranged Druid, over here we have the 9% dealing damage bonus for the distance enemies, and this is doubled to 18% when he core control enemies. As for the next part, he's going with 1 point into Hurricane, and the special passive allows Hurricane to affect enemies to make them deal less damage by 20%. Now over here, 3 points will be going to Endless Templates, which allows the duration of Hurricane and also Cataclysm to be increased by 15%. Now in order to keep his distance, he's going to slow enemies who are poisoned by 24%. And here when enemies are poisoned, they also take 30% more critical strike damage. 1 point is also allocated into Poison Claw, causing the critical damage from the werewolf skills to deal poison damage. So this 1 point allows him to gain bonus from slow, and also damage reduction and also bonus damage with the poison. So this is quite strong. Now over here, we go with the passive first. So he's going with 3 points into gaining more Fortify, and also 15% chance when he's attacked, he's gonna gain Fortify. As for the ultimate, he's gonna go with Grassly Rage, which allows him to shift here into a Werebear, later turn into a Werewolf, which gains damage bonus and also damage reduction. With his passives, he now gains Fortitude, and also he becomes unstoppable. Now finally, he's gonna go with Earthen Might. So the whole combination of the skill is, let me show you guys briefly, he's gonna go into the Grizzly Rage. And this will allow him to turn into a werewolf with a legendary effect over here. And while he's in the werewolf form, his spells are now earthen spells with his storm spells. And this allows him to deal more damage and also restores more energy, and also 100% crits. And he's got multiple skills which allows him to have defensive passives. And this allows him to be very strong against most enemies. Now, if you guys haven't subscribed, it is a really good time to do so, because I'll be covering tons of Diablo 4 related topics and also videos and also guides. We'll be looking to the top meta builds, non-meta builds, leveling up, and also Paragon tricks. We're also looking to the latest events and also official updates and also changes to different characters and also different builds in the game. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and also turn the notification on, because a lot of you who are watching the videos have not subscribed. You can see 80% of the viewers who are watching our videos have not subscribed, so make sure you subscribe to stay tuned for the latest update for Diablo 4. Now coming over to the next part. Over here we can see that he has shared his Paragon levels, and there's one thing I'm missing. I don't know what I'm missing. So notice that he's got 1 point left and I've got 2 points left. So I missed 1 point over here. I'll share both of the build to you guys so you can have a look in case you find the ones I'm missing. I double checked like 3 times. Now, one of the highlights about his Paragon board is it's very creative and it's very flexible. Notice the pathing, he's making use of the left hand side and also right hand side of one board, which allows him to perk directly on the side and also on the side. So usually we'll perk through the board, right? But this way he saves so many points by doing this way. Now briefly go over the Paragon board of choice for this level 100 clear Druid. So he has taken the right hand side to gain maximum damage, and also the right hand side to gain maximum life. Now the first glyph of choice is that when you are close to enemies, you gain 10% damage reduction, and for every bit of dexterity in the zone, you will be gaining damage against close enemies. So he's benefiting both from damage to close and also to range enemies. As we go into the next board, the legendary of choice is that when critical strike with werewolf spells, he will be gaining more spirit. And over here, the glyphs allows him to have more damage reduction with the fortified, and also while fortified, he'll be dealing more damage. Now here's the interesting part. He's gonna path onto the next board, but not doing too much. So the side he's pathing into, he's gonna have the legendary effects. While there are more than 3 enemies are poisoned, you'll be dealing 45% more damage. This is insanely powerful. So just with one passive of his skill tree, he can now poison when he critical strike. And now he deals 45% more damage. So you really want this point if you're playing the Druid and going for poison crits. Now as we move forward to the next board, you can see that he's going to deal more damage as a werewolf. And also the next board he's going into is the legendary Thunder Strike board. So this allows the storm spells to deal more critical strike damage against vulnerable enemies. The choice of the glyph over here is that the rare glyph that allows him to have magic spells deal 10% damage to crowd control enemies or vulnerable enemies, and also grants more bonus to the magical knots over here, which allows him to have a boost of the magical knots to reduce damage and also to increase storm spell damage. Now if we have a look at the right hand side path, he's going into the legendary board with a survival instinct, which allows him to have damage reduction while fortified and also more damage reduction and also more fortified. And if you have a look at the left hand side, he's going to the legendary board with construction tendrils. He's not going for those legendaries, but he's going for the glyphs, which allows him to have more damage reduction and also more damage in werewolf form. And finally, the board that connects everything is going to be this one. So this is the legendary board that allows him to poison enemies to deal more damage. The glyph of choice over here is while in werewolf or werewolf form, he will take less damage. And this also grants more bonus to the blue knots over here. Now finally, he's going to go to the legendary board, which allows him to spin more spirit and deals more damage. So you can see the choice of Paragon is actually really smart. It's a really good power thing, and this allows him to make use of 6 boards, which is very powerful. Now for those of you guys that is planning to play this build, I have also translated his notes from the Chinese. Now the translation is not great because it's Google Translate, but you can get a rough idea of what you're looking for on each part of the gears. So definitely have a look at the notes over here if you want to go into things into more details. So now briefly going through the skill rotations of this incredible Druid. You can see that he's constantly keeping his distance and also animation cancelling and swiping. And because his skills are always actively reducing cooldowns with his passives and combos, he's always transforming into the werebear or werewolf form, which allows him to have damage reduction. And because he can be very mobile, most of the enemies don't get close to him. And if you do get close to him, he can still deal damage additionally and also more critical strike chance. Now over here, he's going to fight a pack of elites. So let's have a look at the fighting methods. So notice that he's going to group enemies together, and then he's going to keep his distance. He's going to stay quite mobile, I believe, and this allows him to kiting enemies. You can see that this particular pack of elites is actually not easy, because this is one of those elites with the the suppression aura, which I really hate. You can see that he is constantly surrounding enemies and also keeping them at bay, so he's not taking a lot of melee hits. He's still taking damage, but because he's got so many restoration methods, he's not losing like 60 or 80% of HP. He's losing about 20-30% HP, which he can regenerate because of his passives. So let's have a look. Oh, see, these are not easy. This is a really hard elite pack. So I do believe he died twice over here, and if you guys do want the full replay, I'll have it available to you guys. Yeah, the level 100 elites are no joke. I wonder if he's gonna skip this one. Now one thing to highlight, what I find with Diablo 4 is, normally the elite monster is actually harder than the boss. So what you're gonna see is, after beating down this elite pack, I don't think he's got that much trouble against the boss. But the elites are not easy, especially those like this. Now you can see the method of playing. So he's spamming his spells when it comes on cooldown, and when he keeps his distance, he's not taking that much damage. He's always with Fortify, and this allows him to take much less damage. And the moment he broke down the suppression monster, everything dies instant. Now finally, let's have a look at how he fights the boss. So this is the level 100 tier Nightmare Dungeon boss with level 154 levels. He's actually going to the mini form against the spider. Now do notice the spider will do a lot of poison damage, so it is very important to stay mobile. And yep, he's doing pretty well. Let's have a look. Now I've actually realized this fight actually takes a few minutes. Because there's no timing in the Nightmare Dungeons, you can take your time. As long as your build is durable and you can sustain yourself, you can play longer and be safer. So over here I skipped for 2 minutes. If you guys want to watch the whole replay, come over here to his live stream and have a look. And the last bit of health, usually players do a lot of damage because of the injured enemies. And there we go, this is the level 100 clear, and I do believe it is the world first for the Chinese player, and this could be for everyone for the solo play of the Nightmare Dungeons. Now because I plan to showcase and also share a lot of good builds with you guys, if you guys do have an interesting and also wonderful build, make sure you send me a message on Discord. We can work through making a clip for the video and also demonstrating to the viewers out there to show you amazing build and also your creative build. So make sure guys, if you have a great build on any of the classes, Necromancer, Druids and also Sorcerers, let me know in the comments and also let me know on Discord. So we'll get your build sorted and share it with the community to see how powerful your build is, and it doesn't have to be a meta build. Now in case you guys didn't know, I'll be live streaming on Twitch again, and I have just started. So make sure to come over to the links below to join us on Twitch live to say hi, maybe ask me questions or share any tips with the viewers. And while you're here, make sure you follow, and if you do have your Twitch Prime, this is a really good time to use your Twitch Prime over here, supporting us with Twitch Prime. And yes guys, join us as I test build for Diablo, and also join us as you play the game and also farm the game. So stay a while and also listen. We'll also be doing some giveaways and also special viewer events in the Diablo as well. Maybe we do PvP and also related events in the game as we get to the end game, and also help players to go through the dungeons.